What is going on, everybody? This is the Fourth and Fantasy Podcast, episode 29 coming your way. My name's Meek, and to my left today, I have Corporate Wu. Welcome, Corporate Wu.
Hey, some of us had to work today.
Listen, you probably think that we just do this thing full time here, and we're just here talking fantasy sports, but we have a life outside of the camera.
Sadly.
In the podcast. Listen, if we could make it full time, I would love it. It'd be amazing, but it is what it is. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Fourth and Fantasy Podcast. We are happy here to bring you another episode today. Wu and I were just talking right before we hit record, and there's a lot of news
in
to
the
talk
slowest
about.
time ever, because now we're at the All-Star break for the MLB. Like, there is no sports on. The only sports on this weekend was Wimbledon. The only people who watch Wimbledon is people who use winter and summer as verbs. Like, nobody's watching that. So it's crazy how much news there are.
Or if you're betting on it like Steven Rondo.
Or that. But we knew that was a given.
Yeah. So 1,500 plays across Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. That's thanks to the folks that are listening right now in this episode. Folks who are watching, we appreciate you. We love you. Please make sure you're following us on our socials, Twitter at Fourth and Fantasy Pod, Instagram and TikTok at Fourth and Fantasy, YouTube at Fourth and Fantasy. Please make sure you give us a like and a follow on our socials, because you may see yourself on the show. Unfortunately, today you are not going to see yourself on the show because we had some major waves go through in Wu and I's Dynasty League.
Fought for my life this weekend.
Yeah, he did. I was reading the chat and they were putting you through the ringer. But so in our Dynasty group, our Dynasty League that we're doing with Kyle, who recently was on the show, commissioner of the league, we talked about our rosters in that league. Wu decided to make a very interesting trade. Do you want me to say it and then give you the floor?
You can say it. I'm ready.
So the trade was, listen, I remember you when we were talking about our teams, how you said, this player's sliding. I can't pass him up. And, you traded up to get him in our startup draft.
I sure did.
So anyways, Wu decides to trade Bijan Robinson, but in return, he gets Tedero McMillan and then a 2026 first-round pick and then a 2027 third-round pick. I will say the 2026 first-round pick is from our buddy Zach, who potentially has a bottom-5 team this year, so it could be a top-5 pick. But Bijan, we're out on him, huh?
I'm not out on Bijan. Listen, it's very hard when you have to trade. I didn't have to. It's very difficult when you trade a player like that of that caliber.
Absolutely.
But here, this is my thought process. I'm sticking to it. I'm still happy with the deal I made. Yes, I got clowned. People who get clowned are the ones who are right. So, Bijan, my team, I'm not in a position to win. I'm set at quarterback. I really like my quarterbacks. Obviously, Bijan was a big piece that I had. When it comes to the rest of my roster, it's very young. A lot of young receivers. I need receiver help. So I just, all in all, just not in a position to win. I even traded out of picks and didn't even get picks back into the draft. I took on more, future rookie picks.
Yeah.
So the whole draft, after a certain point, you kind of realize, all right, my team's not really in a position to compete, and then you kind of change your mindset. Everything's situational. At least that's how I run fantasy teams. It's all situational. Coming out of the draft, I knew I'm not in a position to win this year. I figured my own pick would be a top 5. Like, I don't really think I'm going to win that many games. So then our friend Bucky is like, hey, what do you want for Bijan? And I was like, well, we threw out a couple deals. And eventually he says, that 2026 first that we were just talking about, it's Zach's. Zach's in a pretty similar position to me. A lot of young guys, a lot of uncertainty on how that team's going to look. And, we're probably both going to be in the top 5. So that pick is highly coveted. Some people think it's going to be the 101. It could be. So he throws out Tet. He throws out that possible top 5 pick and a third-round pick for Bijan. I'm sitting on so much draft capital as it is. I need the wide receiver help. When it comes to Tet, I'm a big Tet guy. I think his ceiling is Mike Evans. I think I can get a very long and productive career out of Tet McMillan. Yes, trading Bijan sucks. Now I might have 2 top 5 picks. I have picks I'm sitting on already. In the past, I've had the 101 before. I've traded that for none other than CeeDee Lamb. So these kinds of trades are possible. And yes, it hurts to trade Bijan. It's someone I would like to have on my team. But I need to give myself, especially at the point that my roster is right now where I need to build, I need to give myself as many opportunities as possible. So that's what I did.
So just to show everyone that, he was getting dragged through the coals, couple of comments that were made in the group chat.
Remind me.
Wild drunk trade.
Yep.
Veto. Rams GM over here.
I didn't get that one.
You didn't get that one?
No.
That was Nick. Nick said Wild Rams GM. So, he was getting
But then actually I got clowned all weekend, and finally Tom, thank you, last night we're playing poker. He's like, I didn't think it was that bad of a deal. I was like, thank you. At least somebody has a brain.
And to be fair, you texted me on the side and was like, was it really that bad? And my God honest opinion is I thought all in all was an absolute fair deal. You're getting a potential superstar wide receiver where you are in need for it. You're getting a first round draft capital, which is potentially top 5. I think could be top 3. And then, yes, you're giving up Bijan. My whole thing was what I had said to you was I think it's all timing. I think you could have gotten a lot more than just Tet and a first and a third. If you waited during the season, and I know you and I both believe in Bijan being a potential like top 2 fantasy running back this year. I think if you capitalized at a certain point where Bijan was eating, Tedero and McMillan was struggling, because we all know rookies struggle in the first half of the year. I think you could have gotten Tet plus, you know what I mean, for Bijan Robinson. Sure. And then because you were already kind of understanding that your team was hurting and wasn't going to compete, if you waited and during the season and then like executed on that opportunity, I think you'd be sitting on a fool's gold by the end of the year, because I think Tedero McMillan's probably a superstar wide receiver. I think he's going to get the volume this year, with Bryce Young, and if Bryce Young takes the step forward like you and I both hope, then he's definitely going. Yeah, he may struggle in the first half of the year, but rookie wide receivers always come on strong in the second half of the year, and then you'd it wouldn't even have to wait until the following year or the following off season. Like at the end of the year, you could have been like, look at you fools. Like, yeah, I traded Bijan, but I got a superstar wide receiver and I have multiple, firsts or seconds or whatever.
I hear that.
But you already have his, you own Bucky. You have like all of his picks anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
pretty much.
It is what it is.
And like the other argument that I have for myself is next year is a big quarterback draft. Everybody knows that. I have Jaden Daniels and Kyler Murray, so I don't really have to take a quarterback.
No, you don't.
So that's where I see those picks having a lot of trade value for teams who need quarterbacks, because it is a big quarterback draft. Also, with the quarterbacks going early, let's say maybe my pick or Zach's pick ends up sliding down a little bit. There's still the Singleton kid, running back from Penn State. Yep. There's Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame, another running back. There's options there. And I anticipate being able to get even more draft capital as the season goes on. So personally, I like my position. I like where I'm at. Yeah, it's tough trading Bijan, but I think I'm setting myself up for a lot of possible moves that I can make.
Absolutely.
And I think that's massively important when you can understand that your team isn't going to win. Sometimes you have to swallow the pill.
Yeah, you do. So let us know in the comments, whether it's on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts. What side are you on this trade? Are you on the Bijan side, or are you on the Tet McMillan, a 2026 first round and a 2027 third round pick?
And if the Falcons are bad, Bucky's screwed. Because he has Penix and Drake London and now Bijan.
Oh, I didn't realize he had.
Yes.
So he's tied to the Falcons.
He's big time tied.
Yikes.
Atlanta, you better win more than 6 games.
Absolutely. So like I said before at the top of the show, we have a monster set of news to go through. And it just came out of nowhere, right? Today is July 14th. And hello. So we're going to kick it off with the one that just broke probably hours before we hit record. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson and the Jets have agreed to terms on a 4-year, $130 million contract extension, $90 million guaranteed.
It's about time the Jets do something right.
Let me just give it to the happiest Jets fan in the room over here. What are your initial thoughts here with Garrett Wilson signing this extension?
I love it. I'm so glad they got this out of the way. He's come out and said he wants to be a Jet for life, whether he actually believes that or not. So he's put it out there that he wanted to be with this team. I've seen contract disputes with this team go on for months and months and months, and it usually ends poorly. So the fact that they got it over with minimal negative media attention around the situation, like, I'm all for the money. I think he deserves it. He got paid like a wide receiver one. He will be a wide receiver one this year. I love the move. I'm just glad it didn't end up any turmoil and going back and forth and they can't come to an agreement. Now it's towards the end of the year and like all these different things. So I'm just glad they got it done in July. Now they can just focus on the year.
Listen, Garrett Wilson's a special talent. Let me just throw some things out. So, all this information is per Adam Schefter. Appreciate giving it all one hand. But Garrett Wilson is just one of just 5 players in NFL history to record 1,000 receiving yards and 80 receptions in each of his first 3 seasons. The other people: Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Odell Beckham, Michael Thomas. It's great company to be in.
Pretty good company.
And then this other one I want to point out: Garrett Wilson has played in every single game for the Jets, arriving in 2022. 51 out of a possible 51, and has topped 1,000 yards each season, despite catching passes from 7 different quarterbacks.
Yeah, 7 bad ones.
Right. That's. I think it's an awesome move for the organization. You lock up your wide receiver for years to come. As a dynasty owner, because I do own him in a league, it makes me a little nervous because he only has Justin Fields for potentially 2 years, and then after that, it's like, where do you go? You know what I mean? And yes, he's shown that he can be great with 7 bad quarterbacks,
but it's
like
not
you
ideal.
said before. But it's not ideal, right? Obviously Jamar Chase has Joe Burrow, but most of these other guys have great quarterbacks to complement them, so that they become those untouchable kind of guys. I don't know if I see that in Garrett Wilson. I love the talent. I love the guy. I think he's an awesome player. I just don't know if he will ever become dynasty-wise, become that untouchable fantasy asset that you hope to have on your roster.
That's fair.
That's the only thing that concerns me. But who knows? We could be the NFL's weird. In 2 years, it could be something completely different, or the Jets make an absolute splash of a trade, and then they bring in a quarterback, and it's here we go again, kind of thing.
Right.
So those are my initial thoughts. But I guess we'll have to kind of just wait and see where it goes. But so dynasty wise, and I wish I had rankings up really quick. Let me see if I can get it up fast enough. So if we're talking dynasty wide receivers, right now Garrett Wilson is the wide receiver 14. Would you rather have Garrett Wilson or AJ Brown?
Garrett Wilson.
Would you rather have Garrett Wilson or Ladd McConkey?
Situation wise, probably Ladd. Herbert's going to throw the ball so much. I'm going to say Ladd.
Would you rather have Garrett Wilson or JSN?
Garrett Wilson.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And last one, would you rather have Garrett Wilson or Drake London?
London's a big boy.
I know.
Probably London. I'd like to see what Penix has. I think Penix will be good enough to keep London at that status, so that's why I'm going to go with London. There's a chance that in a couple weeks or a few weeks into the season, my mind might change, for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
But I'd say at this moment in time, I'm taking Drake London.
Yeah. All right. I like how you kept yourself honest there.
Listen,
expectations tempered.
It's tough being a Jets fan. I have to be honest with myself, because when I'm not, that's
you
when
got to
things
give your
get
guy
bad.
flowers though.
Of course I give him flowers. I give him flowers all the time.
Things,
oh my God.
So moving on, next piece of news that we got, again per Adam Schefter, 49ers wide receiver Juwan Jennings, who is scheduled to make $7.5 million this season, is in the final year of his deal, wants a new contract or a trade. Jennings was extended last year, but it does not, according to Jennings, his camp, it does not change how he feels about the situation this year.
George Kittle might have 200 receptions this year.
Yeah.
Is he should he be the tight end one? Because there's nobody else there.
Or is it, or does Ricky Pearsall just get so many targets? I don't know. Do you think this is enough to where he doesn't show up and play? There's no way.
I don't know. I mean, it might be. I just don't know what's going on with the Ayuk situation. It's are the 49ers hands tied and they kind of have to give him what he wants because they need the receiving help? The 49ers, the last year and a half has been so strange for them.
And I totally understand the needing the receiving help and all that. Juwan Jennings has never had 1,000 yards receiving.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? Last year was his best year by far, and he had 113 targets, and 975 yards and 6 touchdowns. He had a good year for himself. Also, you have to keep in account he's 28 years old.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know his exact age, but he's probably going to turn 29 during the season. So it's it's a bad business move if you're San Fran. You know what I mean?
Right.
Why would you sign or lock up a 28-year-old wide receiver who's never had 1,000 yards to a multi-year deal? It doesn't work. So I don't know. I think eventually Juwan Jennings is going to break and realize
take whatever money.
he's going to take whatever he can get. Like I appreciate the move. I'm always in the camp of, NFL players always trying to get your money, you know what I mean? Because it's so quick the time that they have in the NFL, but you also have to be realistic in your value and worth.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. So I guess, does this mean, obviously, you're big into George Kittle. I get that.
We might have to be.
Are you into Ricky Pearsall?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting name. I'm obviously more intrigued by George Kittle at this point than I would say Ricky Pearsall, but the opportunity is now there for him. If Jennings is having this big contract dispute, we still don't know what's going on with Ayuk. Like, the whole situation's so murky.
I don't think Ayuk plays until like November.
And do you even think
December.
it's in a 49er uniform?
Why? Because because of the rumors of him potentially being traded?
I don't know. Like, I just don't get it. Like, San Francisco gives him all this money, and it's like, oh, this is a bad contract. Now we want to get rid of him. The guy hasn't even played what went under this deal.
I was just looking at the other people on the depth chart. They just signed Demarcus Robinson, who I believe just pleaded a no contest to a DUI. So like, he's already going to be in trouble. So you're down Ayuk, you're down Robinson. The next person on this list that I see is Jacob Cowing.
I don't know.
Jordan Watkins.
Never heard of him.
Like, I don't know.
That's what I mean. Like, San Fran's hands tied.
I have heard of Jacob Cowing is someone that I have heard of. He was a rookie last year. So he may be an interesting ad that you might want to, just pop onto your dynasty roster, because he's definitely out on waivers right now. Just to be safe, maybe if you are the Juwan Jennings manager, you want to just give that insurance, that you're going to get some targets or some work from somebody. You might want to pop them on your roster, just to be safe.
Sure.
So if we do hear any other news regarding Juwan Jennings, we'll be sure to report that. Moving on. Bittersweet. Yesterday, the Chargers rookies reported to training camp. I was happy, excited. I was like, listen, football's back. I'm good to go. And then we get this news that Chargers rookie wide receiver Trey Harris is holding out as one of 30 unsigned second-round picks.
That's a crazy number.
Dude, do we just blame the Texans? And I can't even remember who the other team is that signed a second-round pick. Because as of right now, the two picks that in the second round have been signed have fully guaranteed deals. And
shout out to the agents.
Yeah, shout out to them.
That's really all it is.
They did the work. But so I guess,
get better representation.
Do you think somebody is going to cave first, Wu, and meaning in terms of an NFL team willing to give someone a fully guaranteed deal, and then it's just a waterfall effect? Or do you think one of these players is going to finally break and take whatever deal that they can get?
I think that the franchises are going to stand their ground here, because
I think so too.
If one more falls, then the rest of them are going to have to fall. And then from here on out, at least 50% of future second-round picks are getting fully guaranteed money. And I know NFL teams don't want to do that.
And they don't want to lose any more money that they don't have to lose. So, and then turning this towards the player focus himself, Trey Harris. Do you think this is a big deal for Trey Harris, or is this something that we're just gonna brush over our shoulders in a couple of weeks?
I think Trey Harris needs to get himself onto that field, because there's so many opportunities for him, and I think he could potentially be screwing himself from a very good NFL career.
Yes, I was hoping you were going to say that, because I'm 100% in the camp. Like, this is bad news for Trey Harris. Yeah. If you're a Trey Harris manager, I would be concerned at this point in time, because he's a rookie. He has no idea how the NFL works, and the more time you get on the field, going to meetings, doing workouts and things like that, the better off you're going to be. The better off you're going to be acclimated into the NFL. If you take the stance of I'm just going to sit out and wait until I get a fully guaranteed contract, you might be waiting for a long time. And all of that time that goes by, missing training camp. I believe the Chargers have the first preseason game. They're in the Hall of Fame game this year. So those are. I mean, obviously it's preseason and we don't take it for anything. But again, it's
guys like him need the reps.
He needs the reps. He needs the snaps. So,
especially someone who's such a raw talent coming out of Ole Miss.
Correct.
If anybody, and Justin Herbert's your quarterback, just go play football.
Right.
Go play football.
I will sneak this name out here. I will whisper it into the mic. But if anyone wants to make a deal for Quentin Johnston, you might want to go do that right now. I mean, listen, he's not on the field, and it's not completely lost with Quentin Johnson. Like, he has one more year
It's
to
year
really
3,
prove
right?
it. This is year 3. So, if you want to take a stab and send and just float out, like, what do you think it takes? A third or a late second?
You probably high five somebody. They'll give you Quentin Johnson.
So, like, he's probably a throw in a deal that you do with someone, and you never know. Like, this could become a bigger issue than it already is. 2 more pieces of news. Next one. This one's a quick one. General Manager Ryan Poles of the Bears, they agreed to an extension through the 2029 season.
Could be well deserved.
Great, yeah, it could be well deserved.
From a GM standpoint, he did his job.
I think I was going to say he's done everything that he can do for this organization. Getting multiple first round picks. Making great trades. Obviously the trade with Carolina always comes back to mind, and all the picks and players that they were able to get out of that deal, and then also now landing the last year's number 1 overall pick in Caleb Williams. Like, he's done everything he needs to do. Yeah. It's just now these players and coaches need to show it out on the field for him. So I think it's a great move by Chicago, and hopefully he's got some more moves up his sleeve in the future. Last piece of news. This one's a big one. We purposely saved this one for last. Browns rookie running back Quinshon Judkins was arrested on a charge of a misdemeanor domestic violence. I believe this took place in Florida, where he is from. With his current girlfriend. I think it happened this past Friday.
I think it was Saturday.
Or was it Saturday?
I
want to say it was Friday, and then he's been in a holding cell since then. I think he was supposed to he went to court because we're recording on a Monday. I believe he went to court today. Have not heard any word on what that is going to be, but just initial thoughts, man. Come on,
stupid,
man. Come on,
stupid.
Like, what are we doing? You
read that police report. I'm very. He might be done. Yeah. Based on that police report, he might be done.
You're talking about this one that Tom Pelissero put up?
Yes.
So, per Tom Pelissero on Twitter, he posted the arrest report for Judkins, who, the accuser told the police he punched her with a closed fist in the chin lip area, and then later struck her in her left arm and thigh while they were in the car leaving for the airport on July 7th. So I don't know, man. Like, and he's another 2nd round pick who hasn't signed his contract. That's not going to look well for him.
He has no leverage now.
The last time the Browns signed a fully guaranteed contract to someone was Deshaun Watson, and look how that turned out. Like, they're not signing a fully guaranteed contract anytime soon. So initial thoughts, I guess, fantasy wise, because obviously we got to let the legal stuff play out and do its thing. But now we're taking this in the lens of dynasty and fantasy. Like, where's your head at?
Dynasty, I've already seen people trying to sell him. I have a team that I co-own with a friend of mine. We drafted Judkins in the startup this summer. We're listening to deals. We're not necessarily agreeing to anything just yet because we don't know what's going on. But like, it might have to be. It's a thought we have to start thinking about, and seeing what people are willing to send our way. In terms of redraft, like, I don't. There could be no value there.
Is he?
If he misses half the season, I'm not.
Is he off your board now?
If he misses half the season, yeah. Like, yeah. I think it's going to be a similar situation to Kamara in, what was that, 2023?
Yeah,
he got suspended for
Vegas.
6 games.
Yep.
So I think if anything, it's probably going to be a similar situation to that. Although the thing with Kamara is that suspension didn't kick in until the year afterwards. So that's something we have to pay attention to. But this, whatever season he goes into and he's suspended for however many games, if it's like 6+, I probably don't touch him in redraft. Yeah. I mean, that's 6 weeks that, depending on where he's being drafted.
Do you think the suspension will come into play this year, or do you think, two ways of thinking? Do you think Roger Goodell's going to let this play out as he has with, all the other current major ones on the table? Like, I think of like Jordan Addison, Rashee Rice. I don't know if there's anyone else that I can think of. Like, right now,
I would think
the
it
legal
would probably
process
follow
is
suit
playing out.
To what's been going
on. Or
on.
because domestic violence has always been a huge issue in the NFL. Does he set the precedent and just
because it
lays
happened
the
in
hammer?
July?
You know what I mean?
Like, does it happening in July? Is that enough time to like finish this whole process and get the suspension for this year? I'm no lawyer. I have no idea. I would think that, however it's been happening recently, I would think that kind of would follow suit. But
again, letting it play out and then going from there. Yeah, I hear you.
So to be honest, like any decision I have on Quinshon Judkins right now, I'm not making a single decision until I know the entire
solidified.
story.
Absolutely. So if Quinshon Judkins is someone who's on your roster, or if you have Jerome Ford Dylan Sampson, you need to pay very, very close attention. And as soon as we know the information, we'll give it to you here on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. But you have to do the work yourself and just be in the know if it's related to someone who's on your fantasy roster that could be potentially affected by this. So that's our news. Like I said, it was beefy. We're still 25 minutes into this episode, right? And
haven't had news like that in quite some time.
And we still got a mock draft for you, ladies and gentlemen. So today's episode main topic is we're doing a mock draft. Just Wu and I today, but we're doing it. Obviously we talked about our Bonnet Shores League, that mock draft that we did last episode. We talked about and broke it down.
Done a couple more since then.
Did a couple more, obviously, since then, playing with some ideas, some strategies. But here today, we're gonna, like before, like we pick our picks. We did it from where we're drafting from in the league, so we're on opposite ends actually right now, which I kind of like.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's good.
So Wu's drafting at the 3 spot. I'm drafting at the 12 spot, and we'll go from there. We're going to do our best to, as always, put it on the screen for you, so you can follow along and watch with us. And then at any point, when you're watching this episode, if you want to, send us a DM, send us a comment on the YouTube about any, questions, decisions you have in your upcoming draft. We'd love to hear them and share them with us.
100%.
But I'm going to stop talking, Wu. I'm going to get things started. Here we go. So, again, this is going to be 12-team, PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex, and 3 bench spot. Off the board was Jamar Chase and then Jahmyr Gibbs. And, Wu, you are on the clock at the 103.
There's so many names that I like.
I was going to say.
It sucks. Because I hate that I had, so obviously picking up front, it's cool because you have your pick. But then also sometimes it's like, well, what if I want somebody to decide for me, because I could take 4 of these guys and be happy? The names immediately that I've been thinking about at 3, it's Saquon, it's Gibbs. He went at 2, which I haven't seen too much, but I don't hate it.
Are you really into Saquon at the beginning of the draft?
I am.
Really?
I think Philly's going to lean on what they just did last year. You don't go to a Super Bowl doing it the way they did and not run that back.
But do you think that him having the touches, because we've talked about it before, Saquon Barkley, I think, had the most touches, including regular season, off season, all time. Like, he had the most all-time touches. Like, so do you think that there's some fatigue coming into this year where, like, obviously Philly wants to give him all the work like they did before, but can Saquon, who has also been injury prone, I hate to use that word, but he's gotten.
I don't know. Have you seen that man shotgun a beer? I think he's in the best shape of his life.
Oh my God! But do you think he can handle, those same number of opportunities? Because he had 388 opportunities.
It's a valid argument, and it's definitely something I'm considering. With this pick. So just to be upfront, like the four names I'm looking at right now, it's Barkley, Jefferson, Bijan, and CeeDee Lamb. And I think for the purposes of this draft, because I haven't done one with him yet, it's going to be Justin Jefferson.
Oh.
To be honest, it's a lot closer between Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb than, I think they're a lot closer for me than other people are. I just haven't seen a draft with Jefferson yet, so that's what I'm going to go with here today. I love the Minnesota situation. I have said on this show that I'm iffy about J.J. McCarthy, but if he's going to figure it out anywhere, it's going to be in Minnesota. You have to think about the Kevin O'Connell, QB guru.
Absolutely.
It's such a money offense. And at the end of the day, it's Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. So I am up now at the 112. I have 2 picks back to back. It's actually kind of crazy because I'm so used to, we talk about our Bonnet League and it's a keeper league. So, there are certain managers that keep players and things like that, and I'm just looking at the player pool and
it looks nothing like this.
It looks nothing like our league.
This.
But we still have to roll with the punches. Anyways, so I'm looking at the board right now, And there's a player at the top that I'm absolutely going to take. It's going to be Nico Collins. I think Nico has the potential to be a top 5 or top 3 fantasy wide receiver this year. I think, it's a double-sided coin that, the positives on this are, I think he has another year to be with, CJ Stroud, and they're building that connection. There's a brand new offensive coordinator. I think they're going to throw the ball a lot more than when they did last year with Bobby Slowick. But then the flip side of it, and we kind of talked about this, I believe it was last episode with our bounce back candidates, because CJ Stroud was one, is the offensive line issues. And, can Stroud get enough time to connect with Collins when he's dropping back? I'm willing to take the shot because I love the talent of Nico Collins. I trust,
and at the back of the first,
right? At the back of the first, I'd love to take that. And then my other back-to-back pick, player I am very familiar with and appreciate. I'm going to take Devon Achane here.
That's a smash.
I think the key here, where I think Devon Achane has RB1 potential, is now that they've gotten rid of Jonnu Smith. And you're probably thinking at home, like, what does Jonnu Smith have to do with anything related to Devon Achane? I'll tell you, because Jonnu Smith last year had 20% of the target share, which is kind of insane for a tight end to have. 18.8. So he had, we'll call it 19% target share, which is a lot. Now he leaves. They bring in the corpse of Darren Waller, who, I mean, did you hear the reason why he came out of retirement and wanted to be traded to Miami? So the reason why he came out of retirement was because, first of all, the reason why he retired from the Giants is because he was blocking too much and didn't want to do that. So he retired and didn't want it. So then when he saw the opportunity in Miami, then he considered coming out of retirement because he knew he was going to get more passes as opposed to being asked to block.
I mean, go do what you want to do. I respect it.
So what I'm saying with that is, I don't think he's going to bring you any value.
I see no value.
So I think all of those targets are going to go to Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Devon Achane.
Because they use Jonnu Smith so frequently around the line of scrimmage, and that's Devon Achane all day.
And I think the consolidation of targets or consolidation of options is going to be great for them. So in between my pick and Wu's pick, we've had Ashton Genty go off the board, Bucky Irving, that is high.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, A.J. Brown, JSN, and now you are on the clock, Will.
Again, I'm in such a we were talking about this before the show. Like, I love the 3 spot. There's like so many names that I like. It's kind of hard to pick one. Obviously, I love Drake London. I like Ladd McConkey a lot right here. Like, man,
where do you go?
I don't know. I think I'm going to land on Josh Jacobs here.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
I love, for running backs, he is a workhorse. He will get all of the work. He's on an elite offense. It's really the opportunities. That's what it boils down to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's fantasy football. You want to take players who are going to have the most opportunities because it's the most potential for points. You know, Josh Jacobs is someone who, coming into last year, everybody was kind of fearful of because – Matt LaFleur normally runs, multiple running backs. Josh Jacobs is coming off a year where he had a terrible year in Las Vegas, and you thought he was just kind of going to Green Bay to fizzle out the rest of his career. And, he became a workhorse dude, finally caught a receiving touchdown, but was just getting all of the work. And,
second most attempts of his career.
Right. And they didn't make any moves to change that. You know what I mean? I don't even know if did they sign anyone? Let me check to see.
The only offensive addition I can think of off the top of my head is Matthew Golden.
Right. I just want to see.
I don't think the offensive line was touched.
The depth chart. Yeah, no. It's still Marshawn Lloyd, who was hurt all last year, and Emmanuel Wilson, who's fine, but he's not someone who's you're afraid of to take targets from Josh Jacobs. So I think that's an excellent move. Yeah, and I love him as a running back one here for my team. And then the next pick, I mean, come on, man. Star of the show. Star of the show. Big man got paid. Before Wu's pick of Garrett Wilson just then, Drake London, Kyron Williams, T. Higgins, Ladd McConkey go off the board, and then he takes Garrett Wilson. I was pretty much going to take
whichever one of those receivers was kind of left there at the turn.
Was there anyone that you were kind of hoping out of that 4-pack?
I mean, if Drake London got back to me, that's ridiculous. If I could get him in the 3rd round,
would you have taken because I saw Ladd went right before the Wilson pick? Would you have taken Ladd over Wilson if that was on?
See, that was what I was wrestling with in the 2nd round there.
Okay.
So I think the pecking order for those 4, it's Drake London, no questions asked, and then it's such a cop out, but it's Ladd and Garrett Wilson 1A, or like 2A, 2B, and then T Higgins 4 there. I'm probably picking Garrett Wilson. Push comes to shove, A, because he's a Jet, and B, because he's a Jet. But no, I just think he's going to get absolutely peppered with targets this year. They're not going to be good, but they're going to throw the ball a lot. I remember when Justin Fields was in college, and I was watching the semifinal game against, I believe it was Clemson. There's just one play that sticks into my head. He throws like a 50-yard bomb up the seam to Garrett Wilson. I just from that day on, I was like, I want Justin Fields as my quarterback. Obviously, it didn't work out the way I thought it was going to. I did not think we would end up here. But I've been in love with that tandem since they're at Ohio State.
And here you go. You
now
can
it's
get
real.
your taste.
Now it's real. I still have Justin Fields Jets Photoshop pictures when he was in the draft on my phone somewhere.
So between Wu's pick and mine, off the board has gone Trey McBride, Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Terry McLaurin, Tyreek Hill, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Marvin Harrison.
It's crazy he almost got back to you.
Yeah. Listen, if
is that an auto pick?
Marvin Harrison would have been an auto pick here.
Yeah.
To be your wide receiver 2, that's phenomenal. I was also hoping maybe one of the onesie positions of Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts or even Trey McBride were to fall my way. I think I probably would have went for that, but unfortunately I can't, so I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I'm looking at the board, and I think I know what one of my picks are. It's going to be my next pick, but I think it's still wrestling with my first pick. I think what I'm going to do with my first pick, though, is I'm gonna call the shot on the bounce back. I'm gonna take Breece Hall here.
There we go.
I believe what you say, Wu, about the improved offensive line.
It's the best offensive line the Jets have had since Nick Mangold was on the team.
Absolutely,
it's not even close.
And I believe that Aaron Glenn is someone who wants to establish the run coming from Detroit. I think, obviously, yes, there was Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams, but they established it first with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think Breece Hall is the most talented running back in that backfield, full stop. You know what I mean?
It's not close.
It's not close. And I think if Breece Hall stays healthy, he's obviously, another year removed from the ACL tear. I think he can really set himself up as the lead dog in this backfield, and if they can establish the running game and be as be efficient, I guess, running the ball, I think the Jets actually have a decent year, because if you can establish it, be efficient, and then use play action with Fields and Garrett Wilson, then there's a potential that they could be a decent team. So,
and I think people are getting really nervous about the receiving work that Breece is going to lose out on, but I think what you have to think about is, yes, Justin Fields is going to run the ball. It's not going to be running for his life like it was in Chicago. I still think there will be design runs in there, but I think defenses will be more inclined to worrying about Justin Fields running for 20 yards up the field, scrambling out of the pocket, and kind of forget that Breece is there, but you have to look at the guy who has the ball in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Breece will kind of just be sitting off to the side. Maybe there's some shovel passes there involved. I just think there's way too much action there for Breece not to get some kind of work.
Yeah. And my second pick, this one's an auto pick. It's Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
I believe he's healthy. I believe that there isn't going to really be any ramifications for, the speeding incident that he had this year. I think he might actually be a full go this year. And if he's a full go this year, I think he is going to be the focal point of this Chiefs offense, who potentially can bounce back from, their poor Super Bowl performance, and really kind of start to put up some yardage and be, not the high-flying Kansas City Chiefs that we knew before with Tyreek Hill, but at least an efficient, good scoring offense. I was listening to a podcast, during the week last week, and I didn't realize. Did you realize that the Chiefs were 12-0 in one-score games last year?
Yeah,
12-0.
I mean, I didn't know it was that number, but I knew it was something crazy.
That's unheard of,
yes.
dude. That's so unheard of. And obviously it was like, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. It felt like every week the Chiefs went into a matchup with someone. It was like they were like a wounded animal kind of thing, and then they just pulled some magic together to win on a field goal or a last second touchdown or anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen again this year. Number one, they can't afford to get into one score games because they went 12-0 one year. I don't think the ball will bounce that same way for them this upcoming year. So they need to put the ball in their playmakers and really let them go to work, and Rashee Rice is one of them. I don't have it in front of me, but obviously the 4 games that he played before he was hurt, they're insane. They're insane, right?
Yeah, the first 3 games is ridiculous. I mean, week 1 he has 17 fantasy points, 18.5, 29 points. First 2 weeks had at least 11 yards per target, 11.4 week 1, 12.5 yards per target week 2, and then week 3. He drops down to 7.8 yards per target, but he's on 14 targets, 12 receptions, 110 yards. Yeah. So it's like he can beat you both ways.
He had a 26% target share.
And he scored 2 out of 3 weeks.
Right. I'll take any receiver that has a 26% target share. No doubt. That's phenomenal. No doubt.
I have a feeling if I want Rashee Rice, I'm going to have to take him in the 3rd round.
Yeah, you might have to.
When it comes time to draft.
Yep. So between Wu's pick and mine, James Cook, Omarion Hampton, which, by the way, we did not talk about the Najee Harris fireworks incident.
Oh, yeah, you can't see anymore.
Is it? Do you think you can't see anymore?
I don't know. That's just what I heard. He got hit in the eye or something.
If it's legit, then I might be in on Hampton. I've been out on him.
You might have, yeah.
But, we'll see. Then Devontae Adams, Ken Walker, George Kittle, Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, Alvin Kamara, and now you are on the clock, Wu. You've taken Jefferson, Jacobs, and Wilson. Where are you looking?
Again, like a lot of names that I really like here. I have to go receiver? Are you sure?
No, you don't have to go receiver. I think you're probably better off. I don't know. There's some good names, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking an ADP game here. I'm trying to outsmart the CPU. I don't know if it's going to work, though. I mean, so there's a running back that I want, and there's a wide receiver that I want. I just don't know who is going to get taken first. Looking at the rest of the teams, I think they're going to take a running back.
Talk it out with us. Who are the players that you are potentially
the running back that I like is Chuba Hubbard.
Okay.
Very similar situation to Josh Jacobs, where he is the only running back there, and he will just dominate opportunities. Obviously, not as good of an offense, so you don't know where the scoring opportunities will come into play. But I mean, last year he was the running back. 14 on the year. I think that offense is only going to get better. Mm-hmm. Wide receivers that I'm looking at, DJ Moore, but he's kind of towards the bottom of the people I'm looking at. Okay. DK is an interesting name. He would be my wide receiver 3, and he's going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Steelers. And then recently I've been like super in on Zay Flowers, and that thought is kind of sticking in my head still, especially, again, would be my wide receiver 3 for this team.
Yep.
The problem with why I want to go Chuba rather than a running back is because after him, there's less names that I like, and there's more wide receivers that I like. So that's why I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard and play it safe here.
I would agree. I think that's a great play because you just so let that be a lesson for you guys while you're in your drafts. You know what I mean? Like, Wu identified Chuba Hubbard really as the only running back that he liked out of that pack, and then also named multiple wide receivers. So he took the chance on Chuba Hubbard, and hopeful that a wide receiver comes back to him. Oh my God!
Yeah, it could have been a worse situation, but I mean, there's still another name.
So hold on. So before this pick just happened, Wu was hopeful that Zay Flowers or DK Metcalf would go his way, or even DJ Moore, who was sitting at the top of the list. So
I would have taken Mike Evans too.
Zay Flowers, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton. Who's left on the board for you? DJ Moore, who I think is an excellent wide receiver 3 for you. So that's an easy
I think
pick.
He's going to eat in the slot. I'm excited for what he was able to do with Justin Fields in 2023. I think there's a lot of value here for DJ Moore, especially being the wide receiver 3 on my team so far in this draft. Based on where I'm taking him and the other guys I have left, it'll hurt less. God forbid something goes wrong with that Chicago Bears offense. But if it goes real well, then I'm sitting pretty.
Oh yeah. So between Wu's pick and mine was George Pickens, Sam Laporta, Xavier Worthy, James Conner, T.J. Hockenson, Devontae Smith, Tedrow McMillan, and Patrick Mahomes. I'm a little upset. Was praying that Tedrow McMillan would get back to me.
Yeah, that'd been nice. Another wide receiver 3.
Right, it would have been phenomenal wide receiver 3 to have. But it is what it is. So now I'm looking. There's a bunch of wide receiver running backs here. I think which I'm going to take with my 2 picks here. I think the tier of elite quarterbacks and wide receivers have kind of been taken off the board, so there's no reason to force it and force myself to take a quarterback or force myself to take a tight end. So I'm looking here. I like someone like wide receiver wise. I like Jameson Williams. I'm interested to see and just try out the experiment of taking Travis Hunter here and seeing what he as a wide receiver 3 would be for my roster.
That's where I'm comfortable taking him, I would say, in redraft.
Yeah.
Especially when you have Nico and Rashee Rice.
Or the other option too here is I could take Chris Olave as well. You know what I mean? I think Chris Olave is forgotten as that group of elite running wide receivers like Garrett Wilson and Drake London. He was in that same class.
Another Ohio State guy.
Another Ohio State guy who just has battled through concussions. I think could this be the year for him? Obviously the quarterback's not great, but there aren't many options for to compete for targets. And if he can stay healthy, I think he'd be a target hog. So that could be a potential option as well. In terms of running backs,
this is a range of running backs that I think is really scary.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's so much risk
after the 4th round. That's why I think I'm shifting towards going running back a little bit earlier than I was originally planning. Yeah. Because someone like Quinshawn, I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
Travion Henderson, another one. I don't know what that situation looks like.
We've been doing mocks. I reach for Quinshon Judkins all day long.
I've been obsessed with Quinshon Judkins. It's like one of the dumbest things he could. It makes me so mad when I saw the notification.
He was such an auto pick in the 6th round for me when we were doing our mocks, but now it's like I can't take him. And
I was out in Newport having a blast Saturday night, and he gets arrested, and it kind of ruined my night. I'm like, what are you thinking?
Oh my god. So to get it back to where. What we were my picks right here. I think what I'm going to do. I agree with what you're saying, Wu. I am afraid of these running backs, so I think I'm going to go wide receiver here, and then just play kind of hero RB with Devon Achane and Breece Hall, and hopefully
there's 2 guys you can do it with.
They stay healthy. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take Jameson Williams. And then I'm also going to take the experiment of Travis Hunter as my wide receiver 4. Just kind of fill up those wide receiver spots and just see what he can do. You know what I mean? And kind of go from there. So in between my picks my pick and Wu's pick, David Montgomery, R.J. Harvey, Aaron Jones, Isaiah Pacheco, Travion Henderson, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Baker Mayfield, and now you are on the clock.
I would love Jordan Addison here, but I can't.
You love Quinshon Judkins here?
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving him the satisfaction he deserves.
Both those guys, that's just off my board.
Yeah. I was really hoping Waddle would make it back. I thought after that running backs, I might have a chance. Thankfully for that run of running backs, I don't have to make a decision on them.
That is also true.
Oh, man. I think I know... are these CPUs going to continue to take wide receivers? I'm starting to get in my own head, trying to get in the CPU's head, trying to play his ADP game.
They're playing hero RB for sure.
Yeah, and I think they're going to steal the guy I would want to take on the way back. I mean, wide receiver, it would be Addison for me, but I have Justin Jefferson already. So that's where the question comes in.
Could I interest you in Jerry Jeudy?
No.
No?
No. I don't know who's playing quarterback in Cleveland.
Does it matter?
I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it.
Jerry Jeudy had 1,229 yards last year.
I think it's safe to say that everybody knows at this point now where if there's way too much risk involved with the player, I'm not touching it. I'd rather somebody else. I'd rather watch somebody else succeed with that player than me get burned. Wow. And I think it's because it's happened so many times.
You're here to play it safe?
Sometimes you have to. Sometimes
you don't win championships playing safe, I'll tell you that.
You win championships because you have Devon Achane for 3 years and Justin Jefferson for 3 years. That's
took
how you
the
win
risk.
Championships.
Took the risk.
I was one pick away from Justin Jefferson in 2020. I'm never gonna forget.
Never
that.
let it live it down.
Okay, I should probably make a pick here. I'm gonna go Caleb Johnson here because I'm scared a CPU is gonna take him. I really wanted him on the way back.
Okay.
And I was nervous. Let's see how many running backs. Only 2 went. I guess that's all right. I wouldn't have taken Godwin or Ridley anyway, so I'm okay with that. The reason for Caleb Johnson, he's gonna be my running back 3. He's probably gonna be a flex. Maybe he doesn't even make be a starter the first couple weeks. But I think he ended up in such a great situation in
my
Pittsburgh. Like it could not be a better
If you can
scenario.
if you can land Caleb Johnson as your running back 3, and obviously you'd have to nail your next. You probably have to go like running back in the next round to get someone who's a potential starter.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you can do that and wait it out, and that second half of the year, I think Caleb Johnson is just going to become a stud.
I think he's going to be a top 24 guy.
I think so too.
I'm putting my stamp on that.
So between your pick of Johnson and your next pick now, Judkins has gone off the board. Chris Godwin, DeAndre Swift, and Calvin Ridley. And
call me crazy here, but this guy's been coming up my boards a little bit. And it's Jacoby Myers.
Oh,
wide receiver 4 for my team. I think he's going to be a PPR machine. I think there's going to be a lot of attention on Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. And now they have a guy in Geno Smith who I think can feed all of these mouths. I think Jacoby Myers is going to fly under the radar. Like I said, I think he's going to be a PPR machine. This is a full PPR format. That's the kind of receivers I'm looking for. He was a top 24 guy last year. He was the wide receiver 19. I don't think it's going to get much better than that, but as my wide receiver 4, I will take him as the wide receiver 20, let's say.
I was going to say, I don't think he goes lower this year than wide receiver 9. I think you're drafting him as at his floor of wide receiver 19, and I think he has an even better quarterback. And call me crazy, but I think his play style and Geno Smith's play style is just going to be it's going to be a match made in heaven, and they're gonna flourish together. And
I think it's like JSN-esque, at least from what we've seen of JSN so far. Obviously, I think JSN can be a lot more than what Jacoby Myers is, but I think that like 7 to 12 yards, that's all Jacoby Myers. I think that was a pretty big part of JSN's game as well.
Oh yeah. So that was a great pick. And between that pick and my pick now, Jordan Addison has been off the board. Roma Dunze, Travis Kelce, Jerry Jeudy, Bo Nix. I hate that one because that was going to be my pick.
I thought about him.
Khalil Shakir, Stephon Diggs, and then Deebo Samuel. So I am on the clock now. I have gone Nico Collins, Devon Achane, Breece Hall, Rashee Rice, Jameson Williams, and Travis Hunter. I'm looking. There's honestly, first one's going to be easy one. I'm going to take Tony Pollard here.
Okay.
I
like him.
I think the Titans are going to be bad, yes, but first, I think Tony Pollard's good. I think
he's the RB21 last year with Will Levis playing quarterback.
Correct, and I think people are so hung up on that 2023 season when he played for the Cowboys.
That was a major letdown.
And he was supposed to be like the feature back, and obviously he was a letdown, but he was dealing. I think afterwards it came out he was dealing with injury, and was a lot slower. And you saw the change in him this past year, right? He had 1,000 rushing yards.
He's had 1,000 yards 3 years in a row. I didn't know that.
Right? Yeah, I didn't. It's a sneaky 1,000 yards,
and he's always healthy. I'm looking at he's played 15 games every year of his career.
So it may not be the sexiest pick, but I think Tony Pollard as my RB3 right now, is a good selection.
He's a great flex in my opinion.
Absolutely. So now I am still on the clock for my next pick. I don't know if I want to take the jump for. I was thinking I want to go tight end, but now I kind of want to wait. Maybe I just take another player and just bolster up the lineup and take my first bench player. Well, technically Pollard's my first bench player. Take my second one. Do I? No, I think I'm gonna pull the trigger now. I'm gonna take Evan Ingram here.
Wow, that's not who I thought you were gonna take.
I know. I
think there was a great stack there that you just left on the table.
Oh, great. Who do you think?
I thought you were going to go Jared Goff with Jameson Williams.
Oh, yeah. It could have been, but I think that there's some other players that I'm kind of holding out on.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Maybe he does come back to me. But Evan Ingram, I think, is right now in the 8th round, grabbing someone who has tight end 5 potential and being the second target in Denver, I think is a great pick here. Hopefully he turns out and becomes that Evan Ingram of 2 years ago who was the tight end 4.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
No, I really like Evan Ingram this year.
So between my pick of Evan Ingram and Wu's pick, we had Jonnu Smith off the board, Mark Andrews, Tyrone Tracy, Brian Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Jawan Jennings, and now you are up, Wu. You have not taken a quarterback or a tight end.
No.
Is that something that you are looking at currently
It
here?
is, but there's other names at positions that I like. I'm trying to do everything I can to leave these drafts with stacks. That's something I've been trying to do recently over the last couple years. First pick here is going to be Tyler Warren, which might be crazy because I've said that I'm not necessarily sold on Tyler Warren, but during the draft process, we talked about all the tight ends. The last 2 years, a rookie tight end has been the tight end one in fantasy. I already have DJ Moore, so I'm not going to take Loveland, even though I do like Loveland more than Warren at this moment in time. So
he's not going to see the volume that Warren's going to see.
He's not. Whether the volume is going to be quality or not, it's just the fact of the matter. He is going to be probably their best pass catcher. I don't really know if I've seen enough out of like Adonai Mitchell and Josh Downs, to be able to say that I have more confidence in him than Tyler Warren. I think Tyler Warren's going to step in right away and be a focal point of this offense with Jonathan Taylor. So that's how I landed on Warren there. There's other quarterbacks that I liked here, but I want to stack. But there's other positions that I like here, and I don't know if these quarterbacks are going to make it back to me. But I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to go Jaden Reed for this next pick here as my wide receiver 5. I think there's ample opportunity for him in Green Bay. I think he's going to work out of the slot. And he didn't get back to you.
Dude, no. I'm just like Team 6 and Team 7. You already took Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Why do you need to take another good quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, it's so unreal.
And now I think you're going to take my quarterback.
Yeah, I might have to now. So, sorry. Between Wu's pick of Jaden Reed and my pick now off the board, David Njoku, Josh Downs, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, Matthew Golden, Ricky Pearsall, Javonte Williams, and Brock Purdy. I have 3 picks left in this draft. I have 1 bench spot available and 1 quarterback, and I have to take a quarterback. Or no, yeah, I have 2 bench spots and 1 quarterback that I have to take. It's tough in the streets, Wu. Let me tell you that.
It's mock season.
It is mock season. I think what I'm going to do.
It wouldn't be a sleeper mock if the CPU didn't put you on tilt.
Oh, my God.
It has to happen.
All the time. I feel like
if it doesn't happen, that means
it's a contractual thing.
Real.
It's a contractual thing that they have.
Oh yeah, no, it's
what I mean?
Baked into their coding.
I think at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to take your boy. I'm going to let him sit there for you, so you can potentially stack him.
I just realized I have 2 boys out there, so I might be good.
2 boys. I think what I'm going to do here though is I'm going to fill out the rest of my bench. I'm going to take the quarterback with my last pick. I think the first person who I'm going to take is Ramondre Stevenson. We talked about I can't remember where we talked about this.
He was in our
high risk, high reward.
Yes.
So in our high risk, high reward episode, I talked about Ramondre Stevenson. I don't believe Travion Henderson is someone who's going to come in right away and take that RB1 feature back role. I think he's going to get used more in the receiving downs and third down. And I think, the stat that I had said to everyone is that running backs who lead the league in fumbling,
still a crazy stat.
The previous year, they have like 0 or 1 fumbles the next year. So I think that's going to be. That's a point that everyone's going to give you towards Ramondre Stevenson. I don't think it's going to be one. And in this offense with Mike Vrabel, he's going to want to establish it, and you can't really establish it with someone like Travion Henderson. So I think they're going to lean on Ramondre Stevenson, and who knows, maybe he bounces back and does well. So that's my pick right there, and then I'm going to round out my bench with a wide receiver, and I'm going to take the chance here on Emeka Egbuka. We talked about Chris Godwin probably not going to be ready for the start of the year, so I think he's someone that is going to be an awesome asset to have on your team. So I'm going to take him here with one of my bench spots and one of my last picks of the draft. So between Egbuka, my pick of Egbuka, and Wu's pick, we had Charbonnet, Pittman, Jaden Higgins, Colson Loveland, Darnell Mooney, Jordan Mason, Dalton Kincaid, and Jordan Love. Was that one of your boys you were talking about?
None. Because it's this guy right here.
Caleb, I knew
Williams.
That's who it was. It was definitely Caleb.
Well, then
Williams.
I realized Justin Fields was still on the board. So it ended up working out. I had 2 outs there. But it's Caleb Williams. I'm going to stack him with DJ Moore. To get him in the 10th round, I think is absurd.
It is.
Looking at the rest of my roster, I'm super happy with that pick. I'd do that 11 times out of 10.
Oh, I hate sleeper drafts so much.
You thought, CJ Stroud.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, the stack.
Yeah, right at the start, at the top, and at the bottom.
You hate to see it.
Whatever. But so between...
That's what you get for taking Ramondre.
I know. So Tucker Kraft, Tajay Spears, Jake Ferguson, and CJ Stroud have been taken. Wu, you have your very last pick of the draft. You have everything you need. You can just take your depth piece.
Rashad White.
Why not?
Top 24 running back last year, even though nobody remembers. The only people only think that Bucky Irving was running the ball last year. Rashad White was still there. Gets work in the passing game. Like I said, he was a top 24 guy. Yes, Liam Cohen is gone. I don't know what that offense is going to look like, specifically running the ball, because I think that was Liam Cohen's bread and butter. However, I mean, I love Bucky Irving. He's going to be my keeper in this bonnet format that we're drafting in today. However, if anything were to happen to Bucky Irving, Rashad White was the running back, I want to say 7.
2 years ago? Yeah, he was a
running back 4 in PPR formats.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd like to have former running back 4 in the 11th round as my running back 4. I think there's still some kind of value there. I think he could be a flex play depending on a matchup, depending on the week.
100%. All right. So the CPU has taken every single option that I've ever wanted for a quarterback.
Yeah, that sucks.
I'm left with pennies. So what I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, obviously you've seen my draft. I wouldn't recommend doing this. I think looking back on this draft, I think I probably should have gone quarterback when you brought it up, Wu, with Jared Goff. I probably should have taken, instead of Evan Ingram, I should have taken Goff there, and that I would have liked my team a lot better. Sure, I wouldn't have Ingram, but I probably could have made it work with another tight end. But here I am with the last pick of the draft. I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence. I believe we talked about, as an offense for potential fantasy gold was the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Liam Cohen is going to come in and kind of flip how, they run their offense. Trevor Lawrence has weapons to, throw to. He now has Brian Thomas Jr. He has Travis Hunter. I'm hoping Travis Etienne bounces back this year and becomes a reliable running back out of the backfield. Sneakily, someone who we like too is Brenton Strange, tight end from Penn State who's on the Jacksonville Jaguars. With my last pick of the draft, I think I'm going to be streaming the position all year long if I was in this situation.
Probably.
But to take the stab first with Lawrence and see if it works, and maybe Hunter, emerges as a full-time wide receiver and he can build a connection with Trevor Lawrence, then maybe I find myself, some fantasy gold here. So just to round out my team, and then I'll kick it to Wu. My quarterback is Trevor Lawrence. Running backs are Devon Achane, Breece Hall. Wide receivers are Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, Jamison Williams, Travis Hunter. My tight end is Evan Ingram. And then my bench consists of Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson, and Emeka Egbuka. Initial thoughts here. I like everything except for my quarterback. I think, I'm pretty deep at wide receiver, and even also having Egbuka on my bench just to wait and marinate and see what happens, I think is, even more potential depth. I have the question mark of what's going to happen with Travis Hunter. But, if it does break in my way, I also have the stack with Trevor Lawrence to make that work. And I'm really just going to rely on Devon Achane and Breece Hall to kind of carry me through the season here in this situation. So that's my team. Wu, why don't you give us a breakdown of your team?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously, this is my first time drafting Justin Jefferson at 3. I'm pretty happy with how it shook out. It does take away a piece like Addison later in the draft, but at the end of the day, it's Justin Jefferson.
He's going to be suspended anyways.
This is also true. So it's just one less person I can think about later on. I don't know if there's a pick that I really don't like. Maybe, I'm kind of picking at straws here, but maybe when I took Chuba in the 4th, maybe I just do end up going Zay Flowers there. James Conner's still interesting to me. I think there's some kind of value in Aaron Jones and RJ Harvey, maybe even Montgomery. I just think it's a little bit too early there for them. So maybe I do go Zay Flowers and just take James Conner on the way back. But I'm still happy with how the roster ended out. I love Jefferson and Garrett Wilson.
It's a great 1-2 punch.
Yeah, and like I think my first 3 picks, I don't think it can get. I mean, it can't get better than that. But for the situation I'm in right here, I really like that spot. Yeah, no, I got a stack as well, which I was happy with. Iffy on Tyler Warren, but I'm riding the rookie tight ends being the top overall tight end in fantasy, so I'm gonna ride that wave.
Oh, absolutely. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our mock draft 2.0. We got more stuff coming your way, ladies and gentlemen, as the summer rolls on. I think
dog days of summer.
Next week is I don't know what the episode is, but training camp, I think for most all 32 NFL teams should be happening by that time.
Yeah.
And then I think the following week is the first preseason game of the year, and here we go, baby. We're rolling.
I'm all in. Let's go.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you're following us on all of our socials. Twitter at 4th and Fantasy Pod, Instagram and TikTok at 4th and Fantasy. Give us a like, follow, share, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you on the other side.
See ya.